The state of Oregon is offering law graduates an alternative starting this May. The program is called the Supervised Practice Portfolio Examination, which means candidates will work under the supervision of an experienced attorney for 675 hours. They will create a portfolio that will be reviewed by bar officials.
For more, Zane Sparling joins us now. He's a reporter who covers the courts for the Oregonian, one of America's great newspapers. Thank you very much for joining us. 675 hours sounds like a long time. I'm not familiar with the bar, not being a JD myself. Is that a good deal for law graduates?
Meg, Tony, thanks for having me on the show. Now, that 675-hour requirement actually is the estimated amount of time that your average student practices for the bar exam before they take that written test. So the idea here is it's about an equivalent amount of time.
Okay.
Very interesting. Okay.
Being married to an attorney who has had to take the bar multiple times because he's married to a reporter who's moved around the country, he would probably be very interested in this. Tell us how this actually works and break it down. And will people still be interested in taking the bar? And what are the pros of that?
Sure. So in Oregon, you no longer have to take this multiple choice and essay exam to become a lawyer. The way it works is you essentially enter an apprenticeship program where you're being supervised by a licensed and experienced attorney who's watching over you as you draft legal documents, whether they're lawsuits, memos, motions, and you're also leading some negotiations, whether it's in criminal or civil cases. They're watching you lead those negotiating sessions. And then over those hundreds of hours of time, you basically create a portfolio of work, and that's submitted to the Oregon State Bar. And their examiners will look at that work. And if they think that you've shown that you can be a competent lawyer, you have a license to practice law without taking that test. So it's an end to tradition. But we do expect a lot of people to keep taking the test, because if you take you get a uniform score with your bar exam if you take that written test, and that allows you to transfer that score to different states if you're moving around, like you said.
Zane, are there really enough competent legal experts in the state of Oregon willing to take on these newbies and guide them for 675 hours of coaching and prodding and helping and aiding and, I don't know, raising up toddlers into big boy and girl lawyers?
Well, Tony, I don't have a crystal ball, but I can tell you that we actually already have a constitutional crisis with the lack of lawyers in Oregon.
I would think.
Every day people get arrested, they stay in jail, and they don't get a public defender appointed to them because they don't have enough public defenders here in Oregon. So we desperately do need more lawyers. Whether there'll be enough supervisors available is a whole nother question. And I think the biggest misunderstanding that's happening right now is people think they can just show up at, say, the Oregon State Bar and ask for a supervisor. It doesn't work like that. It's like an internship. You have to go out, find an attorney who's willing to let you into their firm, willing to supervise you for those hundreds of hours, and only then can you begin using this option that allows you to bypass the written bar exam.
It sounds really similar to how they're addressing the teacher shortage. A lot of these states, rural states especially, are having these apprenticeship programs to get people into these classrooms. Do you expect more rural states to maybe follow suit here?
I think this is going to be a sea change moment. It's an end to tradition, really, because while Oregon is the first, a lot of other states are studying this, including California, Washington, states on the East Coast. I think that the reason we're going to see more of this is a realization that the skills that a written test, a multiple choice and essay test grades you on is things like memorization, being able to work really quickly. Whereas if you actually think about what you want a lawyer to do, you don't necessarily want them to work so quickly that they're not really paying attention. You want them to take their time and really work on your case well. And at the same time, with online research tools, not to mention AI, it's a lot easier to look up things like case law or precedent.
Although you don't want to catch your lawyer doing it.
No.
All right, Zane Sparling, thank you very much, reporter for the Oregonian.
Thanks.